All right, how's it going, guys?
I
Pretty good.
All right, so today we are playing Tormented Souls 2, the demo. And if you recall, we do have a video up for Tormented Souls 1. So this is a continuation of the storyline. The big difference between kind of the first one and the second one, storyline-wise, so far, is just that this takes place afterwards, and you're taking your sister to kind of like a convent. I did skip a lot of the cutscene stuff because honestly, it's like 20 something minutes cutscene right at the beginning. So I
Oh,
trimmed it. I trimmed it down, right? Like there's no point of us watching all that. But I did want you to see what the cutscenes kind of look like here. So I left some of that in.
oof.
mean, the models could use a little work, but some of the setting is kind of decent.
Yeah, so you can kind of see the models definitely, yeah, like you said, not as nice as maybe some of the more modern games.
But that was the thing about the first game as well, is that when it came out with what felt like more dated graphics for its time, and it was more just about the gameplay, which was very traditional, old school Resident Evil, Silent Hill kind of gameplay. I think I actually got a platinum trophy in the first one.
Yeah.
Like the set pieces themselves are really nice, so I'll give them credit for that.
I totally agree. I think the set pieces that they did in this really good ambiance that they gave. There's a lot of creepy vibe to it with the lighting and everything. It still uses the tank controls, so you can see me struggling at some points, be like whenever the camera shifts.
Yeah, just trying to capture that vibe.
But like this is great because it actually reminds me with the mansion like so much of Res Evil 1.
Whoa, was that a little bit of a graphical glitch there? The color fading?
I think so. I saw it too.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, how do you find like the actual audio design? Does it have like a good atmosphere? Does it have good sound bites and things like that? Because we can't really hear that super well here.
Yeah. So there was a lot of good points where like I'm moving away from something that I think should stay still, we'll say, and then I hear them moving in the background, and it's like, oh crap, there's something coming after me now. So I think they did a really good job with it. There's a lot of like squelching and other weird noises that you hear too, just off to the side. So I imagine they probably have it programmed for like 3D, if you have 3D audio and stuff. So it definitely gives you that feeling.
So you must have cut out a cutscene because it looks like you've taken damage now that she's holding her side. Something
Yeah.
that survival horror games often will do to show that you've taken damage is that the character's body and status will kind of change. So, did you already experience combat, or was that just literally you took damage as part of a cutscene?
It was part of a cutscene, yeah. And you may notice, like, when I have the menu open here, like, it does say that I've taken damage, and you can kind of hear the heartbeat. That was unnerving. It was really actually annoying, like, for the first bit, because I'm like, oh my God, I just want to stop hearing this heartbeat in the background, right? So same idea as the first game here, where like the inventory system, it's very very classic. It wasn't limited, but like you have to uh, pick things and like interact with different objects and mix different objects together to get them to like open or change to solve puzzles.
Like, yeah, observe things and figure out things from them in order to like continue with the game and figure things out. That's always a nice feature to it.
Yeah, you may have noticed right there, there's a little like shiny flash there. That kind of gives you a clue as to what things are interactable. I actually found this because I rewatched the first video we did for the first game, and I found the interactables a lot harder to notice in this game than the first one. Like I have to get really close to stuff before I see that little eye icon to know that there's something for me to interact with. So that's a little bit of, I guess, a negative for me because I found it harder to find things.
Now, are you playing on console or on PC?
This is on console, so there's a little bit of struggle. This probably would have been easier with like a mouse and keyboard for some of the interaction.
Yeah, because I'm curious why you have a cursor on the inventory. Yeah,
I know, right?
that's interesting. Have did you get into any combat?
No. All the stuff that I got so far in here, which was about geez, almost an hour in, was avoiding things. So I don't even know if I'm meant to get in combat, because the one thing where I guess I may have been able to um, was kind of chasing me down, right? So there's going to be a thing here that happens where the lights start to go out. And when you're in the darkness, it's like there's a sound that plays, and it's almost as if you're going crazy and you're going to die. So if you stay in the darkness for too long without light, uh, you lose. You can kind of see it there a little bit.
So they're taking the sanity feature that we saw in oh, I forget the name, but I think they actually did it in the first game as well. So essentially, they're giving you invisible walls by giving you fake damage that you don't actually take.
Yeah. And I mean, I imagine there probably will be some combat later, but up to the point that I managed to play in the demo, there weren't any weapons given to me to fight back. So they're going much more maybe Silent Hill style, or even some of the other survival horror game styles where there's very little combat or almost none.
I have to imagine they'll give you the first game's iconic weapon, the nail gun, that she used for almost the entirety of the first game. But I really do like the set design for this mansion, as much as it is a little cliche at this point to use a mansion in a survival horror game. I mean, think of something different, but
It does kind of look to me like Resident Evil 1, but with really, really nice looking visual style.
yeah, the lighting is on point, that's for sure.
You can kind of see here I'm rubbing against the walls, though, like the old school style of trying to figure out what I can interact with.
That kind of stuff I think is a shame, and I do think that the difficulty of such a game should be in figuring out the puzzle, not in trying to find like the point on the wall that you have to press to get a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. And it's one thing I noticed, again, like going back to the first game, is that like the interactables were much more prevalent, where you didn't have to get like right up against it, where in this game I found that you really had to get much closer. And it's unfortunate because that's a little bit of a detractor.
I also think that the lighting being really good, as mentioned, is a nice thing to have when you have a game where like darkness kills you effectively. So I do like that. I do like that as an idea, having darkness actually be very threatening.
I do love your gameplay style of just run back and forth in the room until you figure something out, though.
Yeah. There's a part here I cut out because like I had actually missed something in this room and I didn't know it at the time, right? And so I had gone through like the entirety of where I was allowed to go. And I had to come back here. You'll notice that I finally got a first aid kit, so clearly they have a way to heal. And of course, the recordings, which is from the first game as well, to save your game a la old school Res Evil at the tape recorders.
Yeah, instead of a typewriter.
We actually still have a little bit more, so there's going to be a part here where you guys get to see kind of maybe a more creepy moment, because so far there hasn't really been much creepy happening.
No, it's mostly just been running around and I assume trying to puzzle solve, which I would hope that the puzzles are more creative and inventive as you go on.
Yeah, again, with the demo, I don't think they give you anything super complex. It seemed to be like, oh, grab this tool, use it here, or have this object. There's one other object that you need to interact with. Like it was pretty simple, but I mean, you might know a little bit better if you've played more of the first game, how complex the puzzles might get later. But yeah, outside of the graphics, anything standing out for you guys as like good, bad?
Definitely, it is one of those like 3D multi-room puzzle games that usually can be a little frustrating if you ever get stumped on something. No matter how much you enjoy these kinds of games, it can be kind of annoying at times.
For sure, for sure.
I see we jump back to the room where you missed the pliers.
Yeah, I didn't have the pliers. I walked around probably for 30. So now you can see, like, this is where they start to get into the creepy stuff where they're like shutting off all the lights on you, right?
Oh, so they're funneling you with invisible walls.
I wonder if that also at times will give like a time limit on trying to solve something.
Quite possibly, because I mean, I kept going, but if I just stood there in the darkness, yeah, I mean, I probably would have died, right?
Huh.
Well, that's kind of creepy.
But yeah, we're getting pretty close to the end now. So, based on what you guys see, and also based on maybe some of the opinion we had for the first game, how do you guys feel for recommending this? Would this be something that you guys continue to play?
I think I could at least, I think I would actually recommend something like this from just what I've seen in the puzzle type of thing to people who like these kinds of games. This is very much not a game that I would ever enjoy myself, so I would not play it myself. But I think it looks pretty cool.
I would definitely continue after the first opinion. I mean, I got a platinum trophy in the first game. I do love old school survival horror games, Resident Evil, Silent Hill. Anyway, so if this is just more of the same of the first one or a little bit improved, I'm in.
All right. Yeah, I'm also going to recommend this for anybody who likes the old school Res Evil games. The tank controls aren't that bad. You really do get over it pretty quickly. And even though, yes, I'm rubbing my face against all the walls, as you kind of get used to things, it does get much better. But now we're getting into the creepy stuff. All right. But yeah, that's a recommendation for all three of us if you like the old school Res Evil games.